I'd like you to welcome this group from the middle school. They're the talented and gifted, and their teachers Ann Pritchard, so please give them a nice warm welcome. And you'll need to kind of keep quiet because they're not going to use the microphone, so you need to listen up if you want to hear them, okay? Thank you, girls, and Mrs. Pritchard for coming. Thank you very much. It's all yours.
Okay. Well, I'm Ann Pritchard.
Why don't you use?
Should I use the mic? Am I going to sound funny?
No.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. I'm Ann Pritchard, and this year in middle school, we took part in something called National History Day. And you take a national theme, and then you connect it to something that interests you. And the theme was conflict and compromise in history. And they thought that Carrie Chapman Catt was a perfect example. There was a lot of conflict. There was compromise, both across the country, and then compromise between Carrie, and nod your head if you know who Carrie Chapman Catt is, because I feel like everybody knows, but when I go to school and talk to kids, not everybody knows that she, from Charles City, was very important in getting women the right to vote. So she also compromised with her husband, and he let her, and it sounds silly now to say let her, but he let her go out and about while he made sure that the bills were paid. So that was another compromise. The girls can introduce themselves, and do you have any questions before we start? Maybe afterwards, okay. All right. So they are going to project as loudly as they can, but if you can't hear them, feel free to say, speak up. Because we've practiced it, but it's always nerve-wracking when you're in front of a crowd, as opposed to your classmates. So thank you for being here.
I'm Hannah Hoffman.
I'm Aubrey Hayes.
I'm Alex Wohlers.
I'm Amelia McKenna. I'm Keely Collins.
Could you hear that? Okay, you're going to probably...
Not very well back here,
Yeah.
I say.
Because, how about you'll scoot up anyway, but you're really going to have to shout, I think. Yeah, because they're a long ways back, all right?
Okay, honey, we don't have a lot of time. What are you looking for?
I need to do a report on someone in history.
Someone, that's all?
No, someone who hit conflict head on and with hard work and compromise changed the world.
I think I know the perfect person. Carrie Chapman Catt. It all started 146 years ago. The year at the time was 1872. This year also happened to be an election year. The presidential election was between Ulysses S. Grant, who was the current president, and Horace Greeley. At the time, Carrie was 13 years old.
Mother, aren't you going to get ready to vote? Your father's getting ready to vote. I'm not going. Then how do you intend to vote? Women don't vote, Carrie. Only men vote. Wait, what? That doesn't seem right.
Louder, girls. Louder.
What?
Shout.
Women couldn't vote? That doesn't seem fair. The argument was that married women would only vote for the candidates their husbands voted for, making it as if men could cast 2 votes. Oddly enough, that doesn't explain why single women couldn't vote. But women do vote. I wonder what changed that. Look, Mom, it says here that 18 years after that, in the year 1890, Carrie Chapman Catt attended her first National American Women's Suffrage Association meeting, also known as NAWSA.
I, Elizabeth Katie Stanton, would like to call this meeting to order. I would like to bring to your attention that Wyoming is still the only state that has granted women the permission to vote.
Yes, we need to work harder.
Susan B. Anthony makes a good point.
Wyoming was the only one? What about Iowa? What did our state do about equal rights for women? Through history, Iowa has been a progressive state when it comes to people's rights. Its constitution, ratified in 1857, makes it clear when it says,
all men and women are by nature free and equal and have certain inalienable rights, among which of those are enjoying and defending life and liberty, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and pursuing and obtaining safety and happiness. The Great Seal of the state of Iowa says, "Our liberties we prize and our rights we will maintain."
Those are strong words, but did Iowa ever put them into action?
Well, in 1846, the year Iowa became a state, it also became the second state to allow married women to own property. And in 1851, a law clarified that husbands do not control their wives' properties. The Iowa Supreme Court gave women the right to practice law in 1869, and Iowa admitted the first woman in the United States to be granted a law license.
In the year 1890, on June 10th, Carrie got married to George Catt at her own private wedding.
Do you, George Catt, take Carrie Chapman as your wife?
I do.
And do you, Carrie Chapman, take George Catt as your husband?
I do.
I now present you with your rings. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the marriage contract.
I promise to work for two.
And I promise to reform for two.
At this point in history, it is very rare for men to accept and let women do anything else but housework. But George was different. He let Carrie do this because he knew how important it was to her and other women across the world.
This is interesting stuff. But when did we get to vote?
In 1920, the 19th Amendment of the Constitution was ratified, giving women across the country the right to vote.
A toast to all our hard work and dedication to this cause. We've worked our whole lives for this, and now that Tennessee has finally ratified, we have all 36 states. It says here that Iowa was the third state in the Union to ratify the 19th Amendment.
Yep, only Wyoming and Colorado beat them to it.
The book also tells about the League of Women Voters. Carrie founded that. Its purpose was to educate the 20 million new voters.
That was smart. That would help women know how to vote and about important issues. Now come on, honey. Dad's at home cooking supper and the library's about to close.
I hope it's lasagna. I love that lasagna.
Do you have any questions for the girls? They can come right out there.
We understand they wrote it.
Uh-huh. Do you want to explain how that went?
Well, we had to read books. We each had to read the book to go to UNI, or we had to read a book so that we could go to UNI, and then we went to UNI and went to the library and got a bunch of information from computers and books and everything there, and then we started to write our play.
And at first it was like all about her life, but then we decided that we should like kind of do less so that we could put more facts into it.
Because they started with like from birth to death, and that's a pretty long span to do a play about. So they focused on the conflict and the compromise and added more facts.
Where did you perform this at?
The Grout Museum in Waterloo.
And what was it part of?
National History Day.
Would you like to introduce yourselves and give us your grade, what grade you're in?
I think we should give them use the microphone.
Okay, yeah. It won't reach any further.
So scoot back there, guys, and then you can just take turns and speak really clearly your name and your age.
And why you are doing this.
I'm Aubrey Hay.
I think I should.
There you go.
I'm Aubrey Haft, and I am in 6th grade. And I did this because I like learning about history, and I wanted to do something that was in Iowa and like it was local. So
I'm Hannah Hoffman, and I'm also in 6th grade. And part of what Aubrey said, I also did it because it was a local topic, and I thought that it was really cool how she got women the right to be able to vote.
I'm Alex Wohlers, and I'm also in 6th grade, and I decided to do this topic because I previously knew a little bit about Carrie Chapman Catt, but I wanted to learn some more.
I'm Keely Collins, and I'm also in 6th grade. And I wanted to do this because when I was younger, I went to Carrie Chapman Catt camps at like the Carrie Chapman Catt house, and I've always been interested in her. I'm Amelia McKenna. I'm also in 6th grade. And I did this because history is one of my favorite things to study, and Carrie was from the area, so I thought it'd be cool to learn more about her.
What was camp like? Can you tell us a little bit about going up to camp out there?
We went to like her childhood house, and we just learned about Carrie Chapman Catt, and we did stuff that they did back then. Like games and stuff like that. And we dressed up in like older clothes and stuff. We learned about the prairie too.
Can anyone do that?
3rd through 6th grade, I think. No, was maybe younger. But I think, yeah. It's a one-day camp that happens in the summertime. So there'll be information coming out about that. I don't know the dates yet.
We're coming on Friday. That
Yes,
works out.
they're coming on Friday to visit, and they also play games that they would have played in Pioneer Days, and do crafts. Yeah, and learn about the voting process. So it's a full day of activity, and they try to eat food also, like Carrie would have eaten when she was growing up.
Thank you very, very much.